A very good morning to all of you. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And welcome to today's personal development class. My name is Dr. Rosamond Osei Cranting. And we are still reviewing the all-time classic, The Alchemist. Before we begin today's session, I have a little bit of motivation for you. And so a couple of years ago, in fact, a little over 17 years ago, I went to see a dentist to evaluate for dentures because I wanted to realign my teeth. And after the evaluation was done and they asked me when I would come for the dentures, I told them that, okay, if I really have to do this, my wedding is in a few weeks. I wouldn't want to have wedding pictures with braces on. So let me go have the wedding, then after the wedding, I would come fix the braces. As it turned out, life happens, and life happened to me. And so for 17 years, I kept postponing this for one reason or the other. But sometime within this past week, this decision hit me again. It reminded me. And I just picked up the phone. I called my dentist. I'm like, okay, I'm coming for an appointment to so and so. The long and short is that this week I finally got the braces. Why am I telling you the story? I'm telling you the story because all of us have things in our lives that we have to do that we should have done a long time ago, last week, yesterday, earlier this morning, a couple of years ago. There is always something that you should have done, but you keep postponing for several reasons. The best time to have done that thing was when you should have done it the first time. The next best time is today, is right now. It does not matter how long you have postponed it. It does not matter what the reasons were. The first best time has already passed, but today is another chance to go back and do what you should have done a long time ago. Keep that in mind. So see me with my braces. Yeah, so we come back to our personal development class. And today we begin with a passage from page 311. You are in luck. You too, the fat Arab said. There is a caravan leaving today for El Fayoum. But I'm going to Egypt, the boy said. Al Fayoum is in Egypt, said the Arab. What kind of Arab are you? It's like saying that you are going to Kumasi, and then when they tell you that you are going to Ghana, you say, no, you are not going to Ghana, you are going to Kumasi. Like, what kind of Ghanaian are you? Basically, this is what the passage is saying. And it brings me to a few points. Sometimes we want a promise, we want a certain thing in our lives, but we really have no idea how we are going to get what we are looking for. We don't even know the geography of the place we want to go. Some of us have plans, we have aspirations, we have all kinds of things on our to-do list or to be or to have list, but we have not bothered to even find out what it takes to be a good entrepreneur. We've not found out what it takes to be a good wife or husband, but yet you are praying to God to bring you Mr. Right. Are you Miss Right? Have you taken pains to grow yourself into the destination you are praying for? A lot of us are making that mistake. And sometimes also, we want to go to a certain place, and God is leading us on a particular path, but we don't even recognize that God is taking us where we need to be, because in our mind we have a certain imagination of what the trip or the journey should be like, and we are fixated. It should be this, then when I finish this, I do this one. We have the plan all rolled out in our mind, but God knows the best route for us to take to get us to that destination we are desiring. And God's plan is not just to get you there, but to keep you there. So he will not take you on a journey that will only get you to the destination, but he will prepare you for it. And a lot of the time, the preparation does not look anything like what you imagined. It does not look anything like it. So the fact that it does not look like what you are thinking does not mean you are not on the right path. What this passage also teaches us is that you don't need perfect knowledge to begin. Whatever it is you want to begin, a business, a career, a marriage, a relationship, whatever it is that you are planning to begin, you don't need perfect knowledge. Everything does not need to be perfect. You need to know what the destination is, and then you figure out the rest along the way. Some of you are waiting till life is picture perfect before you take a step to marry. Some of you want to get everything before you start that business. Some of you are waiting for Angel Gabriel to come down from heaven to your room like he appeared to Mary and tell them that now everything is all fixed. Start your life. You don't need to have everything figured out. Just know where your destination is and keep your Bible, your trust in God, the word of God and your trust in God, and start the journey. And trust God that he will help you through to take you to your destination. A lot of the time, clarity comes after obedience. God will need you to move, to obey him, to trust him, to lean on him. And then as you go along, the clarity, everything begins to make sense to you. The boy thought that Egypt was a really far away place, but in reality where he was closer to Egypt than he had ever imagined. Sometimes God will answer your prayer. He will open the door for you. He will give you an opportunity. But because it doesn't look like what you imagine, you ignore it. There are some of you who have missed destiny helpers. You have missed life partners. You have missed opportunities. Because when they came, you had an idea of what they should look like, what they should be driving, what they should be wearing. And because they didn't look, walk, or drive what you were expecting, you discarded them, you wrote them off. I pray that God will give us discernment so that when the things we need in our lives come towards us, we don't miss it. Sometimes we are asking, is this really Egypt? Is this what I prayed for? But indeed, that is what you prayed for. In biblical perspective, Genesis 12:1, go from your country to a land I will show you. Like, that is how God deals with us. Go, I'll show you the way. Start going. He didn't give Abraham a map. He just told him that go to a land I'll show you. Start going. Abraham had to obey God fully before his promises, God's promises to him, was unfolded. Page 317. But I want each and every one of you to swear by the God you believe in that you will follow my orders no matter what. In the desert, disobedience means death. The desert is not... First, let me tell you what the desert... We've talked a lot about the metaphor, what the desert represents. But to touch on it once more, the desert is any place in your life where you are in a difficult place, a confusing place, a place where you are out of your depths, you are confused, you are totally disoriented. And when you are in a desert situation like this caravan is going to be, it is not a place for arguments. It is not a place for ego where you are going to show your crafty powers, who you are, what you have. It is not a place where you are independent. Because in the desert, your survival depends on you sticking to the group. Your survival depends on you putting your ego aside and allowing one person to be the leader and to show the direction that everybody should go. Your survival depends on you shutting out all the arguments in your mind and submitting yourself to the will of one man or to God. When you are in that desert situation, you need to submit, first of all, ultimately to God. But sometimes it is such that there's an authority over your life, and you need to shut up and submit to that authority. That is not the time when you are going to tell them that you are also a pastor, you have read, you know this, you know that. Or you too, you have gone to school, you know what you are talking about. At that point, you need to shut up and listen to one person. Submit yourself, put your ego aside, wear the cloak of humility, and cooperate with everybody else. Because in the desert situation, disobedience can mean death. Sometimes not with disobedience, it is delayed obedience. You are supposed to do something, you don't do it at the time you are told. You wait. Time our pen obey. Delayed disobedience is as bad as disobedience, and it can cost you when you find yourself in the desert situation. Survival in the desert situation depends on you listening to wise leadership. There are times when you need to let another man or God lead you. And here we are not talking about power or control. This is a life and death matter. Baby, I will no one if you don't take care and relinquish the power and control that you are so thirsty and hungry for, it may cost you your life. It may cost you your ministry. It may cost you your marriage. It may cost you your business. It may cost you friendships and relationships that you can never replace. Obedience matters so much when you are in this desert situation, because you see, when you are in normal life, when it's not a desert situation, when you are in a place that is hard or dangerous or life-threatening, you can afford to experiment. You can afford to make small mistakes. It will not cost you anything. You just get up, you dust yourself up, then you continue as if nothing has happened. And you can easily recover from these mistakes in a normal life scenario. But then when you are in a desert situation, when you are in this hard place, there's no margin for error. The slightest mistake you take, that will be the end of you. That will be the death of you. So you need, first of all, to recognize when you are in desert situations in your life. Because that place, you can't afford to make a mistake. When we are in a desert situation, just one person deciding that they want to do their own thing, live their own life, go their own way, can endanger everybody else in that community. And so when you are in a desert situation, you need to be united in purpose and in pursuit. And here, obedience represents you trusting wisdom of your leader over your personal impulses, over your personal preferences. You put yourself aside. At this place, we are all looking for the greater good. It is not about you anymore. It is about the marriage. Anything that you need to do within the will of God to make that marriage work, you need to do it. If you have to apologize, even when you think you are right, if that is what will save the marriage, you choose wisdom over being right. That is what it means to put personal impulses aside and let wisdom reign when you find yourself in the desert situation. And here, swearing by the God you believe in, as the passage said, quote and unquote, it means that when you are in a desert situation, you need to show your depth of commitment to what you believe in. We believe in God and we believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. You need to show your commitment. It is when you are in that place that people want to see if you really are the man or woman you said you are. This is not about casual agreement. It is not about you just throwing jargons of Christianity around and you just going through the motions, going to church and doing the various things that have been asked. It goes beyond that. It is looking at the depth of your commitment to what you say you believe in, to who you said you have believed. Paul said, for I know whom I have believed, I am persuaded. What is the depth of your persuasion? And this commitment is a moral commitment, it is a spiritual commitment, it is a life-binding commitment and responsibility to God. Your beliefs should show up in your actions. It should show up in the way you react, the way you behave, the way you forgive, the way you serve, the way you let go, the way you extend grace to people, even when they have hurt you. In the desert situation, if you say you believe in God, but yet you don't obey God, it is useless. And sooner than later, you are going to die. And the caravan leader in this passage, he understands something so important. He understands that the desert situation does not forgive. It doesn't forgive people who are stubborn, who insist on having things done their own way, despite having people who are more experienced, who have gone through the path that they are now going through. Remember that this caravan driver is somebody who has crossed the desert several times in and out and knows everything about the dangers involved. And so he knows that people who have been stubborn in the desert, they have lost their lives. He knows that people who have been rebellious have lost their life. He knows that people who have not obeyed at the time they were asked to do something have perished. And he knows that the people who do selective listening or hearing, some of you, when the authorities in your life, the caravan driver, God, or any kind of leader over your life speaks to you, then you pick and choose. You decide what to hear. You decide what to listen to. When you are in a desert situation, when you are in this place that is hard and unpredictable and unfamiliar and threatens to take your life, your best chance at survival is putting your life completely into the hands of the caravan driver. And this can represent God. This can represent your pastor. It can represent any kind of spiritual authority over your life. For some of you, it represents your boss. For some of you, it is your mother, your father. If you say that you have a father, an earthly father, or you don't listen to your father or your mother, you'd rather go to church and listen to your pastor hook, line, and sinker. Be very, very careful, because our earthly fathers are the closest representation of God, unless they are wicked or evil people. But by and large, our parents are the one who would love us most and have our interests at heart most compared to anybody else in this world. Exodus 13:21. The Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them along the way. That is why in a desert situation, you follow God. You listen to God. If God steps, then you step. If He's not moving, you are not moving. Sometimes it's uncomfortable because you are in a hurry to move. But God says we wait here. And we wait for as long as I say we wait. God is the caravan driver of your life. And until God moves, you don't move. You don't go ahead of God, because that will mean sure perishing. This quote teaches us that obedience is not weakness. Some of us feel that if you are obedient, if you are submissive, then Jimmy. No. Sometimes obedience is the ultimate representation of wisdom. Submission is not foolishness. Discipline is protection. Some of you want to have your own way and do things your own way. But discipline can be a protection for you. So when people are disciplining you, it is not to punish you, it is not to disgrace you. That discipline is protection for you. The desert does not ask for your opinion. When you are in a difficult situation, at that point you have lost the right to express your opinion. It demands that you align. It forces you to align. And that is how God's instructions to us are not suggestions. Opa, yeah, opa, and yeah. No. God's instructions are laws. They are not suggestions. And partial obedience in this kind of scenario is equal to disobedience. So you are going all out to obey God. You eat his word and you swallow it hook, line, and sinker. And you follow God no matter what. No matter what. You stick to God and you follow God's leading. Because any kind of delay, sometimes God even gives you instruction, do this, go here, go and talk to this person, and you will not go. Or you wait, sometimes the delay can be fatal. Before you get to that person to go and talk to that person, or whatever they were going to lose has been lost. God gave you this message 3 days ago, 1 month ago, and you are sitting there and you are debating with yourself, and you decide when you are going to take that step at your convenience. Delayed obedience is equal to disobedience. Page 324. I've crossed these sands many times, said one of the camel drivers one night. But the desert is so huge, and the horizons are so distant, that they make a person feel small, and as if he should remain silent. I've never been on the desert, but I have been to the seaside and stood at the shore and looked at the vast expanse of the ocean and marveled at God's goodness and greatness. And invariably, when you stand at the ocean, there's no other way to feel than to feel small. It's like looking at a storm, a raging storm, and the way you can't control the elements, the thunder, the lightning, the rain, the rumbling, and all you want to do is to hide somewhere until the storm has passed. That is how God represents in nature: deserts, oceans, storms. The camel driver is saying that he's very experienced. He's passed this desert up and down many times. Yet, no matter how many times he's crossed that desert, it always feels vast and powerful and overwhelming to him. And that is how our awe for God should be like. No matter how familiar we have become with God, we should never lose the awe of his presence. When we come into his presence, we come and we stand in awe of him. We never become familiar. The ocean should never stop making us feel small. The desert should never make us feel like we should shut up and listen. No matter how many times. And it is natural when you stand in front of anything so big. That is why you cannot come to God and still wear that garment of pride. I am this, enemy say, enemy will say. When you really come into the presence of God, all these things, who you are, what you have, it's stripped away. And you feel your smallness in comparison to the awesome presence of God. And that feeling should make you want to stop talking too much, should make you want to stop bragging. it should make you become quiet, reflective, and respectful. And this is representing moments in your life when things become heavy and shocking, overwhelming. It can be because of a betrayal, it can be because of a loss. Suddenly, words are useless, and all you can do is to be quiet and to be still and think deeply about your life, your choices, and God. That is why when we were younger, there was a song we used to sing. When I look at the mountains, I look at the valleys, I look at the sea, oh my Lord, you are God. The desert, the sea, the storms, these awesome things in nature, they remind us of the greatness of God. And they also remind us of hard seasons. They remind us of emotional pain. They remind us of times when we realize that we are not and cannot be in control of everything. And whenever you face something that is overwhelming, truly overwhelming to you, your ego softens. The noise around you reduces, and you begin to hear from inside of you. That is when awareness increases, and the voice, that still small voice that has been talking to you that you've not been hearing, now suddenly everything around you is quiet, and so that still small voice becomes more audible. And that moment where you become quiet, where you become still, it is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you are processing where you are. You are processing what you are going through. There's a song that I love so much. It's entitled Still. And I'll read some of the lyrics for you. When the oceans rise and thunders roll, I will soar with you above the storm. The writer is talking about God here. Father, you are king over the floods. God is king over every kind of ocean or desert or storm that you find yourself in. And all you can do is to be still and know that He is God. Be still and know that He is God. He is God over the desert. He is God over the storm. He is God over the floods. And so we will be still and know that He is God. Psalm 8 verse 3 and 4. When I consider your heavens, what is mankind that you are mindful of them? Psalm 46 verse 10. Be still and know that I am God. When life feels overwhelming, the Bible doesn't say that is when you fight harder, that is when you talk louder, that is when you want to get more control. When life gets hard, that is not when your ego now, yourself has come. Then you are showing people your crafty powers. That is when you remain still. That is when you observe more. And that is when you listen. And on that note, we are going to wrap up our session for today. Thank you for being a part of us. I hope you have taken something useful out of this podcast. We'll see you again in our next episode. God bless you.